but that's, you just have to keep going and doing it and be consistent with it because if I would have stopped after, a few weeks, my name and face would not have been seen.
All right, guys. So today we're here with Karen Dunn. We're going to shoot a quick little interview, get to know who she is as a person, how she runs her business, who she is as a loan officer, and also a little bit about her upbringing. All right, Karen. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a native of California. Well, actually, I was born in Alaska, but then I've been in California ever since I was 8 months old. Been in Elk Grove since 1994. Started my mortgage business in 1994 as well. So, been in the business for about 28 years now. Have two grown kids, 23 and 25. They're both thriving, working, living on their own. So, empty nester. But great feeling there, and just love being in the mortgage business, gives me a lot of freedom, and also I love to be able to help the people out there working on getting into homes.
What's your why? Like, what makes you get up every single day, do what you got to do?
Well, I was brought up with a big, strong work ethic. So getting up and going in the morning has never been an issue with me. It's always what's been expected of me. So it's always something that I've always done. Growing up with the kids, and, they were always my big why. My family, my husband, my kids, um, needing to provide, income for them and also being there with them. Having the young kids, I was always wanting to be there to take them to school, pick them up, make sure they were doing their homework, and this job allowed me to do that and still make decent amount of money. As they grew up and I had more freedom, the why kind of changed a little bit, and it became to providing them with a college education without them having to have student loans. Now that they're both out of college, the why has changed once again, and it's now to retirement. So, in 15 years or so, and my husband and I want to go out there and we want to travel, we need to have the income. So, and this is a job that I can also do while we're traveling and continue doing, and at the same time make a good amount of income on it.
So for someone starting out in the business, because I know, um, as you said, this business does give us a lot of flexibility, but it can also be very taxing on us individuals that definitely work it. How were you able to balance it in your early days in the business?
You just have to make your schedule. So I would get the kids up in the morning, get them to school. I would come back and I would sit at my desk and I would work until I picked them up. Then I would get up and get them from home from school, get them sitting down at the table doing their homework, and I would go back into my office and then I would work until 5 and
Nonstop.
nonstop. It was just it's what you had to do. And my kids always knew that if they needed me, they could come in and ask for questions and help and everything. And they also knew that if I was on the phone that they had to get a piece of paper out and write me notes and questions so I can answer their questions. So, I had to train them a little bit, but that's, it's just something that you have to do. You have to be able to stick to your schedule and not go, I just don't feel like it today. You're sitting at your desk pretty much from 8 to 5, even if you're getting up and doing things along the way.
So I'm sure you had to build up your own little fort at home. Then no one's allowed to come in here certain times of the day.
Well, I had my home office, and it would if I was on the phone, I would, close the door, and then
Hmm.
they would sneak in if they needed to ask me a question or whatever, but yeah, they definitely knew their boundaries.
What challenges did you run into, or what challenges did you face your first few years in the business?
Well, when you're trying to do a sales type of thing, yeah, a lot of it is name recognition. So, being new to the community, not growing up in the community, I didn't have ties. So, like if I was from Lodi, so if I would have gone down to Lodi, I would have had a lot more name recognition. But starting out here, I had to build that up. So that was a big thing. So it was just going to all of the events, all of the realtor meetings, all of the meetups, everything, getting out there and just being out in the community and getting my name and pace recognized.
Just really getting in front of people, making sure that you're known, right?
Right, exactly. So, I mean, you have to go to all of the events, all of the networking events, to the restaurants, to, happy hours to meet with people. You just have to be always out and about and willing to go the extra mile to be out there.
Other than the realtor groups, what other groups or organizations would you suggest someone in those shoes now probably look at?
Chamber of Commerce is a great one because you get a wide mix of all the community organizations. They all kind of have people within the Chamber of Commerce. I was in Rotary for a while, but like Rotary always says, it's service above self, which you're not going into there as a networking. event. It's just, yes, you're going to meet other people, other business owners, but it's not something that you go into. I'm doing this for leads and referrals. It's
Mhm.
just still name recognition, but being out there and helping your community at the same time. So those type of service organizations, they have BNI groups right now. It's basically just getting together with different business owners because that's going to be your best opportunity.
Gotcha. So really, when you go to certain social events or certain hobbies, you just really got to fall in love with that specific one, right? Like you said, Rotary. Um, I do jujitsu. When I'm at jujitsu, it's just all about me doing that sport or that hobby. Um, but then other situations like Chamber of Commerce, those are the ones that like this is what we're here to do.
Right. Yeah, you're there to network and talk to people, but it's also even chamber, you're trying to it's something that you're doing to get out there in the community more so than, hey, I'm a loan officer. I want your leads. It's just being there and being genuine in the moment. Like you had mentioned jujitsu, any type of organization. When my kids were younger and they did all their sports, it's just being out there and then people, in the normal day-to-day activities, they ask you questions. Oh, you're in mortgages. Oh, you're in real estate.
Hmm.
And it just kind of genuinely comes out versus having to say, "Oh, hi. Do you need a loan?"
Yeah,
So
because it
it's
burns
just,
out.
it's just the relationships. And so once you build the relationships in in each category, then you can get the business. It just kind of comes out naturally.
Real estate and loans, they're both entrepreneurial jobs, right? Like you said, we don't get paid unless we make something happen. What are the best qualities for an entrepreneur?
Determination is one because with if you're not determined to do it, then it's not ever going to succeed. And you're not going to continue to make the phone calls or the business calls or showing up at all these events if you're not determined to make it. And also, you need to have a competitive spirit. Everyone else, there's numerous, as we all know, realtors and lenders out there, and you have to be a little bit of competitiveness in you to try and outdo the next person. You have to say, "This is why I'm better than you," and it's hard to say, "Yes, I'm better than you," if you don't have a little bit of competitiveness in you.
And definitely like a value proposition too, right? Like, what's going to set us different from the other people?
Exactly.
What's your value proposition as a loan officer or as an individual business person?
I feel like I'm very genuine and I care about the people that I'm working with each time. I get to know them. I genuinely like them. And so a lot of the realtor partners that I work with, that's one of the big things that I've always striven for, is work with people that I like. It makes everything just go by a lot easier.
Hmm.
Also, communication is very big with me. We do Tuesday updates, we do Friday follow-ups. We let each person know in the transaction what's going on. So, you know, s- caring and communication are my two big things.
Yeah, and I totally got that from you. And when we first met, it wasn't just, "Hey, Brandon, I'm a loan officer. Give me a deal." It was like, "Hey, if there's anything that you want to talk about, anything you want to strategize, let's talk because I'd love to get to know you."
Right. Yeah. Thank you. That means it's actually working.
Yeah, and now we're here, right?
Exactly.
Peeking into Karen's brain now. What are some of the systems that if someone were to get their loan officer's license today, what should they start to set in place?
Get their database going and figure out which realtors that they want to go after because you're not going to get anywhere in this business in loans unless you have purchase driven business. Refis the last few years, they were great. They were just extra candy for us all. But, in order to have longevity in this business, you have to have referral partners from realtors to give you the purchase business. So they need to really get get their plan in place and then go out there and execute. Like, when I first started, 28 years ago, it was a little bit easier because the real estate offices were a lot more open. And so every single week, I had my little milk route where I went out to every single real estate office and I had designed a flyer for, a program of the week. And I put it in onto everyone's desk, into their mailboxes. And then on Sunday nights, I would call them and say, "Hey, this is the program of the week." And 9 times out of 10, when you're calling on a Sunday evening, at least back then, especially, you would get voicemail, which made it a lot easier when I was first starting out. But that's, you just have to keep going and doing it and be consistent with it. Because if I would have stopped after, a few weeks, my name and face would not have been seen by all those people.
Yeah, they definitely forget, especially with like Sunday evening. They get that phone call, goes to voicemail. They hear it Monday morning,
Right.
and they're like, okay, well, staying top of mind. Karen just told me about these awesome programs that she currently has.
Yeah. So it was a lot of extra legwork in the beginning, but it was well worth it.
So even as a rock star loan officer as yourself, I'm pretty sure that you still run into those mindsets of like doubt, right?
Oh, yes.
How do you overcome those?
Well, the first thing I try and do is smile because when you smile, it just gets everything going. So that's going to be the first thing. Um, and you're always going to have doubt. That's going to be there no matter what you're doing in life. You just have to think within, go back to your why. Why am I doing this? And, just get back in the game. It's just, it's something that you have to do. It's a mindset. Like daily on Facebook, I always do a positive thing first thing in the morning, and everyone's like, "Man, you're so positive." And I'm like, "Well, that's for my benefit more so than people out there in Facebook land. If I put it out there, it gets my mind in the positive place, and so it's all about changing my mindset first. And if it helps somebody else, great. But it's mainly for me, so it kind of helps get myself positivity in the morning."
It's that morning affirmation that kind of gets you
Exactly.
into that mindset.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I have, my daily affirmations, but I'm not that great about doing those daily. Facebook posts, it's a little bit easier, especially when there's other people in the house. You don't want to say out loud your affirmations, but you don't have to say it out loud when you're putting the positivity in the Facebook post.
As a high producing loan officer, how do you typically manage your day? What does your day usually look like? And how are you able to manage all the loans that you have to process?
Well, I couldn't do it without help. I do have an assistant. She does a fabulous job. She's been with me, I think, for 8 years now. Then we have a processor. So we just kind of break it out into whose job it is for each thing. So my typical day, I start, get on my computer around 7. And my assistant, when she leaves for the day, the night before, she always leaves me a list of where we are within each loan. So when I get to work in the morning, I go through her list and I tell her what needs to be done on the loans and give her like a priority list and say, this needs to get done first, this second, third, fourth, and fifth. So once I generate the loan and get the lead, she pretty much takes over getting all of the paperwork. So she is in contact with the borrower and takes over all of the paperwork. Once she has it all ready to go, it sends it off to the processor, who then sends it to the underwriter. Any conditions that are needed, my assistant gets. I'm basically there for updates with the
Mhm.
borrower and make sure that things are kind of running smoothly and kind of the manager at the top, but I'm not the person in the trenches at that time.
Yeah.
My assistant takes care of the majority of that once it gets into process, and she's awesome. So then we just kind of work it all the way through the end. We're kind of tag teaming. If the borrowers aren't responding, then she says, "Can you contact them?" So we're definitely a team, but she does most of it once it gets into process.
So you're like now at that rainmaker mode now. You're out there to stay in communications with the clients, with your realtor partners who's gonna be, help feed the business.
Right, exactly. So she does the inside work, and I'm responsible for bringing the business in and staying out there and staying top of mind.
How do you stay up to date with, the changing markets that we're constantly going through? And, what are some new ideas or how do you come up with the new ideas to ignite your business every single wave?
It's not easy. It's training, it's going to classes, it's listening to podcasts. It's today I was on a webinar and they gave a couple of good little clues. And every single day when I do get into the office at 7, I look at there's a couple of different webinars and podcasts that I look at to get the daily news on what's going on that day. So that's and then they also say, okay, next webinar on this topic is coming up. So that's how I learn about those things. Um, you know, Having been in the business for 28 years, all this video and social media, is all new to what I started off with. So it's all been a learning curve from day one, and you just kind of have to try and stay on top of the wave so that you're not losing ground trying to get new business with younger people.
And are there any specific, maybe like podcasts or webinars that maybe the general public or people within the business can go ahead and look at?
Well, as far as I mean, most of them are just mortgage related, and they're subscriptions that I go on to.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
the MBS Highway is one of them that I listen to daily. Then there's the Mortgage Marketing Animals. But there was a new one that I went on today. It was this VA rep, and so there's different ones that I listen to, but mainly the MBS Highway. This Barry Habib. I mean, he's been
Yeah,
pretty much right on with all of his predictions. So he's the best one that I listen to daily.
he's fire. When I talk to a lot of my loan officer partners or my mortgage partners, they always speak very highly of MBS Highway.
Right. Yeah. Rob Kurtzman always gives good information, with a little bit of humor. The Mortgage Bankers Association, they have some good webinars that I listen to as well. So I don't go out for the generalized stuff more. I kind of mainly stick it in with the centralized mortgage stuff,
Yeah, like
mortgage
what's going to help you
information.
with your business,
Right.
right?
Right.
How do you come up with new ways to constantly ignite your business and in terms of maybe like getting new business or adding onto the team occasionally? How do you go about creating those new ideas?
I mean, it's the rip off and
The
from every
R&D.
yeah, exactly. You see what other people are doing and what's working for them, and you kind of tweak it a little bit to fit your what you're doing, your ideas a little bit more. But it's just like when you're going to the gym. I mean, you also sit there on the treadmill, and I'm watching people out there on the floor to see what they're doing different that I can incorporate into my workout. So the same thing in the mortgages, you're looking at them going, "Oh, that's a great idea." So that's really where I get it from. I don't have very many original ideas. It's all getting it from other people and just tweaking it to me.
Well, and that's the best part too is like, whatever we're doing today or tomorrow, it's already been done
Right.
yesterday. Let's just look at what someone else has done, turn it the Karen way and make it, 10 times better because it's not the Karen way that they're doing.
Exactly. Exactly. Everyone has to kind of do it to themselves. It's not going to be personalized. It's not going to be you if you just take somebody's idea and run with it exactly how they're doing it. You have to tweak it.
And last question, easiest question. Karen, if anyone here wanted to get in contact with you, maybe wanted to talk about loans, what their current situation is, or hey, their goal is to buy a house within a year or even 5 years from now, what's the best way for them to contact you?
My phone, so you can call me or text me at 916-207-7050. I have my website at karendunnloans.com. My email, karen.dunn@apmortgage.com. I was like, yeah.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.